Hey there, squirrels. How are ya? Happy Thursday. Time to read. I think we're in chapter 6, and this is the third part. Usually they've just been like 2 parts. I think this one's got like at least 5. I met Symington. I'm out of Zyrtec. Haven't gone to get any more yet. I think I'm going to have to. I met Symington in the town later in the day. Is it quite all right for Megan to stay on with us for a bit? I asked. It's company for Joanna. Oops. Doggone it. Okay, here we are. She's rather lonely sometimes with none of her own friends. Oh, Megan? Oh, yes, very good of you. I took a dislike to Symington then, which I never quite overcame. He had so obviously forgotten all about Megan. I wouldn't have minded if he had actually disliked the girl. A man may sometimes be jealous of a first husband's child, but he didn't dislike her. He just hardly noticed her. He felt towards her much as a man who doesn't care much for dogs would feel about a dog in the house. You notice it when you fall over it and swear at it, and you give it a vague pat sometimes when it presents itself to be patted. Symington's complete indifference to his stepdaughter annoyed me very much. I said, "What are you planning to do with her?" "With Megan?" He seemed rather startled. "Well, she'll go on living at home. I mean, naturally, it is her home." My grandmother, of whom I had been very fond, used to sing old-fashioned songs to her guitar. One of them I remember ended thus: "O maid most dear, I am not here. I have no place, no part, no dwelling more by sea or shore, but only in your heart." I went home humming it. That's all part 3. Part 4. Emily Barton came just after tea had been cleared away. She wanted to talk about the garden. We talked garden for about half an hour. Then we turned back towards the house. It was then that, lowering her voice, she murmured, "I do hope that child, that she hasn't been too much upset by all this dreadful business." "Her mother's death, you mean?" "That, of course, but I really meant the unpleasantness behind it." I was curious. I wanted Miss Barton's reaction. "What do you think about that? Was it true?" "Oh, no, surely not. I'm quite sure that Mrs. Symington never, that he wasn't." Little Emily Barton was pink and confused. "I mean, it's quite untrue, although of course it may have been a judgment." "A judgment?" I said, staring. Emily Barton was very pink, like Dresden China shepherdess like. "I cannot help feeling all these dreadful letters, all the sorrow and pain they have caused, might have been sent for a purpose." "They were sent for a purpose, certainly," I said grimly. No, Mr. Burton, you misunderstood me. I'm not talking of the misguided creature who wrote them. Someone quite abandoned that must be. I mean that they have been permitted by Providence to awake us to a sense of our shortcomings." "Surely," I said, "the Almighty would choose a less unsavory weapon." Miss Emily murmured that God moved in a mysterious way. "No," I said, "there's too much tendency attributed to God. There's too much tendency to attribute to God the evils that man does of his own free will. I might concede you the devil." God doesn't really need to punish us, Miss Barton. We're so very busy punishing ourselves. What I can't make out is why should someone want to do such a thing? I shrugged my shoulders. A warped mentality? It seems very sick. It doesn't seem to me sad. It seems to me just damnable, and I don't apologize for the word. I mean just that. The pink had gone out of Miss Barton's cheeks. They were very white. But why, Mr. Barton, why? What pleasure can anyone get out of it? Nothing you and I can understand, thank goodness. Emily Barton lowered her voice. They say that Mrs. Cleet, but I really can't believe it. I shook my head. She went on in an agitated manner. Nothing of this kind has ever happened before, never in my memory. It has been such a happy little community. Well, no. What would my dear mother have said? Well, one must be thankful that she has been spared. I thought from all I had heard that old Mrs. Barton had been sufficiently tough to have taken anything, and would probably have enjoyed the sensation. Emily went on, It distresses me deeply. You've not had anything yourself? She flushed crimson. Oh, no, indeed. Oh, that would be dreadful. I apologized hastily, but she went away looking rather upset. I went into the house. Joanna was standing by the drawing-room fire, which she had just lit for the evening, and it was still chilly. She had an open letter in her hand. She turned her head quickly as I entered. Jerry, I found this in the letterbox, dropped in my hand. It begins, You painted trollop. What else does it say? Joanna gave a wide grimace. Same old muck. She dropped it onto the fire with a quick gesture that hurt my back. I jerked it off again just before it caught fire. Don't, I said. We may need it. Need it? For the police. And here's part 5. The same chapter. Superintendent Nash came to see me the following morning. From the first movement I saw him, I took a great liking to him. He was the best type of CJD county superintendent. Tall, soldierly, with quiet, reflective eyes and a straightforward, unassuming manner. He said, Good morning, Mr. Barton. I expect you can guess what I've come to see you about. Yes, I think so. This letter business? He nodded. I understand you had one of them. Yes, soon after we got here. What did it say exactly? I thought a minute, then conscientiously repeated the wording of the letter as closely as possible. The superintendent listened with an immovable face, showing no signs of any kind of emotion. When I had finished, he said, I see. You didn't keep the letter, Mr. Burton? I'm sorry, I didn't. You see, I thought it was just an isolated instance of spite against newcomers to the place. The superintendent inclined his head comprehendingly. He said briefly, A pity. However, I said, my sister got one yesterday. I just stopped her putting it into the fire. I went across, wait a minute. Thank you, Mr. Burton. That was thoughtful of you. I went across to my desk and unlocked the drawer in which I had put it. It was not, I thought, very suitable for Partridge's eyes. I gave it to Nash. He read it through, then he looked up and asked me, Is this the same? Hang on. Is Is this the same in appearance as the last one? I think so, as far as I can remember. The same difference between the envelope and the text? Yes, I said. Same difference. The envelope was typed. The letter itself had printed words pasted onto the sheet of paper. Nash nodded and put it in his pocket, and then he said, I wonder, Mr. Burton, if you would mind coming down to the station with me. We could have a good conference there. And it would save a good deal of time and overlapping. Certainly, I said. You would like me to come now? If you don't mind. There was a police car at the door. We drove down in it. I said, do you think you'll be able to get to the bottom of this? Nash nodded with easy confidence. Oh, yes, we'll get to the bottom of it. All right. It's a question of time and routine. They're slow, these cases, but they're pretty sure. It's a matter of narrowing things down. Elimination, I said. Yes, in general routine. Watching post boxes, examining typewriters, fingerprints, all that. He smiled. As you say. At the police station, I found Symington and Griffith were already there. I was introduced to a tall, lantern-jawed man in plain clothes. Not plastic clothes. Oh, Lord. Gotta have these eyes checked. And I need a nap. Oh, Lord. Inspector Graves. Inspector Graves, explained Nash, has come down from London to help us. He's an expert on anonymous letter cases. Inspector Graves smiled mournfully. I reflected that a life spent in the pursuit of anonymous letter writers must be singularly depressing. Inspector Graves, however, showed a kind of melancholy enthusiasm. They're all the same, these cases, he said, in deep lugubrious voice like a depressed bloodhound. You'd be surprised, the wording of the letters and the things they say. We had a case just on 2 years ago, said Nash. Inspector Graves helped us then. Some of the letters I saw were spread out on the table in front of Graves. He had evidently been examining them. Difficulty is, said Nash, to get hold of the letters. Either people put them in the fire or they won't admit to having received anything of the kind. Stupid, you see, and afraid of being mixed up with the police. They're a backward lot here. Y'all, I know that wasn't much at all, but I am sleepy. When I can ever come on and not be sleepy. Oh, Lord. Lord. Dear sweet Jesus, wake me up. Look, I made slippers. And they're cute. They stretch. Hadn't tried them on. Let me try them on. Let's see what I think. Oh, if I can get down to my feet. Oh. I thought about sending this pair to. They fit. They're so cute. I've made knitted slippers before, but I like this style much better. They look like little loafers, kind of. I wish I could get my foot up here and show you, but no way. I'm not limber like I used to be. Well, those are just plumb cute. And I'm almost finished with this black knitted hat. Well, I say almost finished this, but it's got a really long brim. And this brim is to be folded up, so I don't know. I still have a right much to go. I did not mean for it to have this. Somehow I got it turned around and was knitting the wrong side. So it looks like purl stitches, but now I'm having to purl to get it looking like knit stitches again. I don't mind purling, but I'd rather just knit around and around and around. And yes, it's wool. It's a woolly hat. But it's kind of thin because it's like fingering weight. I think I got this from a bougie yarn shop that the lady worked there and she passed away and her husband got rid of all her bougie yarn, and another lady got it for me. I never even met the lady. She spent $130 buying up the rest of the yarn that guy had. I think like in either an estate sale or just a yard sale or whatever, but it was a major score. But anywho, working on that a little bit today. I've done a few rows right now. I'm working on this pretty yarn with my beautiful new furls that my sis Ola Jo gave me. I won in one of her giveaways. Y'all make sure to keep checking her out. She's been having lots of giveaways lately. And remember, if you're in the market for furls, oh, by the way, and Ola Jo has this on her community tab, but they've got the streamlined swirls. Not this one. This is Andromeda. But the ones like this, but they're Aries, which is a sort of a brick red swirled, and the Virgo, which is green. But they're seconds, so they're either missized, the wrong size stamped on them, or something, the color's not quite right. I usually get the ones that there's an imperfection with color, because sometimes they're prettier than what it's supposed to look like. I love these slippers, y'all. I'll probably give them to sis for her birthday. Make me some more. It was a very easy pattern, y'all. They were called the Cloud, or just Cloud slippers. I've shown y'all this pattern. And just that are the directions. That's just my scribbling. That you just knit it up in one piece, fold it and seam it. Works up quick, fast. Alright, y'all, have a great day, and we'll see you on the YT streets. Dana, Triple C, Creatively Created Crochet, I think is going to have her making meet. She was as of this morning. And it used to start at 5:30, but it starts at 6. So go to Creatively Created Crochet. And she has the panel thing where we come up and craft and stuff. So I'll probably go up if I won't fall asleep. Love y'all. Be sweet, don't be ugly. Bye-bye.